or off the topic, now is the time, and if not, thank you very much. Type question says, and before we move forward, if the sisters have questions, there's a chat room or a message. Yeah. Okay, type. Didn't the Prophet ﷺ love Aisha radiallahu anha more than his other wives? As we mentioned in the lecture, for a man to love one wife more than another is natural. He may love them equally. He may love one more than another. He may love one son more than another. That's natural. He may be naturally inclined towards this daughter than the other children, naturally, for one reason or another. How she looks, as we said, she's the smartest. She's the one who appreciates him the most. She has the greatest emotional connection to him, whatever that reason is. So the Prophet loving Aisha more than other wives, it doesn't mean that the Prophet was unjust to the other wives. And that he went with his other wives, he kept talking about Aisha, Aisha, Aisha. He gave them their rights. He gave them their time. He gave them their nafaqah. He gave them what they needed and also what they wanted according to his ability, alayhi salatu wasalam. So we have to understand something, that the Islam, the Sunnah, isn't made to bend over and to be twisted and warped and adjusted and augmented to Western society. The Sunnah is never ever politically correct. It was not made to be politically correct. So people, they'll say, how can you say something like this? It's horrible. You love one wife more than another. How can you be with another woman? What type of abomination is this? A man sleeps with 4 women? What is this? The Sunnah is not supposed to just be beneath this culture or this taste. How can you be with a woman you don't even love, they say. In Islam, love is not a condition of marriage. Rather, not even in Islam, in the dunya before 2018, even in 2018. But let's say when the people were open and real people, you read about how a woman married someone or a man married a woman because he needed children. He needed children. He didn't necessarily love her. Did he love her later on? Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. A woman needed to be protected, to be taken care of. There were many reasons behind people getting married, and love wasn't a necessary condition of marriage. Should you love your wife? No one is saying that you shouldn't. No one is saying that you shouldn't. But is it a necessary, mandatory condition? That's something that you have to prove in the Kitab and in the Sunnah. This is a reality. We may not want to swallow it, but this is the reality. What is mandatory is that you treat your wife kindly and justly. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, if you treat your wife kindly, she's a believer, she prays, she fasts, she gives you your rights, what are the chances of you not loving her? What are the chances of you not loving this Muslimah that has light on her? She's good to Allah and she's good to you. What are the chances of you not loving her? Everybody clear this or not? But that doesn't mean that that's a necessary condition. You can't get married until you date for a year. You can't get married until you know each other for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then get married. In other words, there's no marriage without love. That is not Islam. That's Western values. That's not even what the people were doing years, say back in the day in Europe. Polygamy and monogamy. It wasn't like that. It was a well-known practice among all civilizations, cultures, and races. Everybody understand this? So it's very important for us to understand that the pure concept of the practice of Islam is under attack on all fronts. It's under attack from those who outwardly hate Islam. It's under attack of those who are munafiqeen, who say that they're Muslims. It's under attack with regards to its knowledge, deen, practice. It's so many different fronts. They're all trying to attack. And the biggest goal and the most important thing that they want to do is to strip the pure, orthodox, organic understanding of Islam from the children of the Muslims. We can't get them to say kufr akbar. We can't get them to say that Allah doesn't exist. We can't get them to say that. Not immediately. We can't get their fathers who came from Somalia and Pakistan and Iraq. We can't get them to do away with Islam. It's too deeply planted in their hearts. Nor can we get their children strong, but their grandchildren, maybe we can get them to be outward atheists. And if we can't get their children to leave Islam, we can at least warp Islam and whitewash it and taint it. We can do that through scholarships, through sports, through citizenship, through this, through that, through this, and through that. And if you think this is an exaggeration or a conspiracy theory, may Allah make dua for you. I make dua for you. May Allah help you if that's what you think. Because that means you're living in a dream world. You're living in the dream world. Open up your eyes. Open up your ears. Allah knows best. Wa alaikum salam.
So regarding gifting kids, I think that you mentioned the Prophet said, you buy gifts for all your kids to do that, or for Friday. Is that specifically towards the parents who have the intention of going out of their way to buy a gift to one child, or another instance where one of the kids sends you something specifically for them, and you go out and buy that particular item or gift? Are you obliged to buy for all of the kids? Or?
Type question says, with regards to giving your children gifts, and the Prophet ﷺ telling them to take back the gift. Don't allow the gift to remain in his possession. What if one of your children sends you a request and asks for something specific, so on and so forth? Do you have to give, so on and so forth? As we just said in the lecture, the people differ. إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى. Allah says in the Quran, what you do is very diverse. You have some children which are just naturally really, really smart. Some children which are naturally physically strong. Some children which naturally cling and stick to you more than the others. They just naturally love you more. That's natural. So there's some children who may say, Abby, I want this. Abby, get me that. There's some children, you take them to the toy store, they're very decisive, and they pick out what they want. And there are other children who go back and forth, and they can't figure out what toy to get, and you have to pick out a toy for them. So, if one of your children is decisive, and they know what they want, they know that they want this toy, inshallah, you buy that toy for them. And also get a toy for the rest of the children, even if they didn't ask for it. Even if they didn't ask for it. Whether you ask them, whether you pick it out for them, or if you buy them the same exact toy. Because children don't care about what is logical. It only makes sense. You ask me, so I buy it for you. They don't care about that. They see that Fatima has a new teddy bear. Even though Fatima was smart enough to ask Abby for a teddy bear. And the other 3 children, they weren't smart enough or quick enough to ask for a teddy bear. Do you think the children care about that when they see it with a teddy bear? Children, when they fight over things, one child picks up a toy on the floor that the other child wasn't playing with. What does the child come and do? Give me that. And start crying. Was the child thinking about it before he picked it up? No. The children don't care about that. They care about what's in front of them. They care about what's in front of them. So even though this child asked for it and requested it, you should be just and give the other children a similar gift as well. This is very important to understand the mind of a child. Everybody clear on this? Whether you call it psychology or whatever else you want to call it. It's muhim jiddan. Very important. And that's why in our lessons on Tarbiyatul Awlad on the page, we're reading from Abdullah's book, Nasihat al-Nisa, My Advice to Women. We mentioned that Abdullah, she said that raising children, she says, يحتاج إلى سياسة. It needs siyasa. And siyasa doesn't necessarily mean politics. But even if you do say politics, that's what it means. Politics is the science of running and governing people. You have to have a fiqh. You have to be savvy. You got to know how to deal with children. If you yourself are a child mentally, if you yourself are immature, if you yourself can't control your emotions, your jealousy, your fears, then you're a bad parent. Then you're what? You're a bad parent. And that's why the leader of the household, the ra'i, the father, the mother, or maybe the mother first, then the father. Huh, Sheikh? This is reality. Tayyib, you have to be what? You got to be wise. You got to know how to deal with children. Everybody understand this? You got to know what to do and what not to do. It's very important, and Allah knows best.
Before we continue, inshallah, for anybody who doesn't want to put their hands up, or the sisters who might not be sending some papers, either you could send it to info@abuhurairah.org. Quickly, everybody has a smartphone, or you could go to our Facebook page. There's a Google Doc. If you want to be anonymous, there's a Google Doc there as well. You could just submit the questions as well. You could do that both, inshallah. And even throughout, we're planning to record some Q&A session with the Sheikh as well. So if you have any other questions, just put them on there, and we will have the time to, inshallah, ask him. Any questions?
لا هذا من أهل المدينة خلاص. Sheikh لا
Go ahead and ask the question.
He's a graduate from
Ask the
Medina.
question first.
No, just along the same lines as what the brother was talking about, from like being just or equal to your kids. You have to spend to save.
Money.
Yeah.
By the way, Brother Mahmoud is also a graduate from the University of Medina. And I know he's asking this question for somebody else.
Are you trying to set me up?
I know.
You see how you looking like, why are you trying to play me, right?
It's about time to bring the stuff on.
Yeah,
On the mic.
the microphone, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. SubhanAllah. Tayyib. As we mentioned in the lecture for everybody, is that spending on the children is going to be relative. We have to understand a few basic points about Islam and about the Sharia. Nothing in the Sharia is unnatural. Every rule of Allah and His Messenger is made to go with the natural way. The natural way. Islam doesn't promote for someone to be against the natural way of things. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Kullu mawludin yuladu ala al-fitra." Every child is born in the natural way. That's number one. Number two, Islam, the Sharia, the Sunnah never ever goes against sound logic. Abadan. There's not a time in which you can bring something that's actually from the deen. And as we mentioned in Ottawa, something that actually is the Sharia and not someone's interpretation or view or opinion that's not actually the Sharia. You can't bring hardcore Sharia that clashes with hardcore sense. It's impossible. There is no logic that is sound and agreed upon that goes against the Sharia. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said, "Inna shari'ata qad ta'ti bima tuhayyiru al-uqul, aw bima yuhayyiru al-uqul, wa la ta'ti bima yunaqidu al-uqul." He says that Sharia could bring something, it's something in the Quran, there are hadiths that the human mind can't necessarily grasp, that may cause you to be confused and bewildered, to marvel at. Wow, this is deep. The heaven, the earth, the shams, when you sleep, the shaitan does this. How is that? But he said there's never a time in which the Sharia brings something and it contradicts and clashes with the sound mind. There isn't a contradiction between the Sharia and the sound logic. This is something that's beyond your grasp of understanding. But it's belief in the unseen. It's belief in demons and angels, this reward and that reward. Is that something that goes against logic? Is that something that goes against solid common sense? No, it isn't. There's a huge difference. Everybody understands there's a huge difference between us not agreeing and between us fighting. You understand this? You say something and I say something. You say tomato, I say tomato. I don't agree that you say tomato. I think you say tomato. Clear on this. We don't agree. That's not the same as your statement clashing with mine. And I'm saying that you're wrong and you're this and this. Is a huge difference. Something being beyond your immediate grasp isn't the same as something being what? Ta'aruf. It goes against it. So there's nothing in Islam that goes against logic, sound logic. Something that you think is logic, something that you think is a scientific fact, it's a theory. It's not a scientific fact. It isn't a historical fact. It's a theory. So therefore, if you have children, obviously your wife, she can't have all of the children all at once. She can have twins, triplets, quadruplets, but that's extremely rare. وَلَا حُكْمَ لِلنَّادِرِ. The rare peculiarities aren't the Sharia. Most women, they have just one child. At best, they have twins. So obviously, one child is going to be older than the next child. If you're married to your wife for several years, you're going to have a long relationship. I was away, this, that. He's 21, this child is 10. There's gaps between the children. So the 20-year-old, his needs aren't like the what? 10-year-old or 11-year-old. That doesn't make sense for someone to even think like that, let alone say that. Let alone say that's the Sharia. My 20-year-old daughter, her expenses are equal to the 10-year-old son. Abadan. It depends on the haja. It depends on the what? On the need. So what's important is, as we mentioned, is welfare. I can't have this daughter doing well. She's comfortable. And this son, he's struggling, barely getting by. She's 21 years old, and she has a brand new car. In the wintertime, her seats are heated. And my son, who's 19 years old, he's on the bus stop shivering, freezing, and I have the money to buy him a car. That's unjust. Even though the 20-year-old girl's expenses may be higher. Clear on this? Gift, same as well. Prize, reward for goodness, different story. And Allah knows best.
Before another question, Sheikh, can you touch on the two courses, inshallah, give them
With regards to the courses, bid'nillahi ta'ala, and before we move on, I like this, mashallah, this is nice. Yeah, this is legit, mashallah. Tabarakallah. It's nice, mashallah. طيب. With regards to the courses, then tomorrow, I believe, is a Tarikh al-Hadith, wa Tadwinuhu, is Hadith compilation and its history. And then, if I'm not mistaken, during the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's supposed to be Awaiq al-Talab, which is translated as obstacles in the path of seeking knowledge, but I don't consider it to be an obstacle. I consider it to be a pitfall, a puncture wound in your tire. And not an obstacle, but something that's going to stop you from seeking knowledge and stop you from achieving your goal in seeking knowledge. And it's a deeper meaning. An obstacle is made to be averted, made to be hurdled. Something that's going to stop you. Your knowledge, your seeking, your talab is what? Done. Khalas. Rah. Everybody understand this? Whether you translate it like this or like that, these are the two courses. Inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to speak on the introduction to this course and some of the basic concepts and principles of the course of how the hadith, the things that are attributed to the Prophet ﷺ, of statement, of action, of approval, of description, how they were written down, how they were memorized, how they were understood, how they were explained, how the Prophet ﷺ's words were found their way to paper, to bone, to leather, to bark, to books, volumes. How do we get something like Sahih al-Bukhari? Where did it come from? From thin air? How did we get a book like 40 Hadith Nawawi? Where did these books come from? When were they compiled? Why were they compiled? And how were they compiled? Was the Sunnah protected, or only the Quran was protected? There's no doubt the Quran is the word of Allah. We believe in it 100%. But the Sunnah, maybe the Prophet said it, maybe he didn't say it. So if we have a doubt, then we can't take no hadith. Is that correct? Is that true? What is the ruling? How do we understand this? And what are the different major feats? And before I go any further, hadith compilation isn't just something for Muslims. If there are non-Muslims that are listening to me right now, because there are some non-Muslims that do watch on YouTube, if they're non-Muslims, I don't know if the non-Muslims come in the masjid, I don't know the madhab of Sheikh. They can come into the masjid. What's important is hadith compilation isn't just a Muslim topic. Hadith compilation is like the creation of the wheel. It's like the discovery of the compass. It's like the number 0. It's like space exploration. It's like the discovering of the new world. It's a major historical feat. It's a major chapter in history that had a direct and indirect influence on modern Western society. Hadith compilation is a major milestone in the history of human beings, and is one of the greatest feats that's known by man. And this is something which was acknowledged not just by the Muslims, but even many of the non-Muslims. Many of the non-Muslims, like the great, not great meaning good, but he was a big Orientalist, the German Orientalist, the main disciple of Gozar, Joseph Schat. He said, فَلْيَفْتَخِرُ الْمُسْلِمُونَ بِعِلْمِ حَدِيثِهِمْ. He says the Muslims, they can have pride in the science of hadith. That's something that they have the right, they've earned the right to be proud of. And he wasn't a Muslim, he was a malicious, malevolent person that wished to destroy Islam, and that's what he said. So that's what we're going to talk about Saturday and Sunday. But Saturday and Sunday, inshallah ta'ala, it's only the first session of this course. Be that in the near future, there are going to be other sessions online, other sessions in person, because we're not going to talk about everything in 2 days. That's just impossible. And this is a part of ta'ala, the knowledge-based curriculum that's going to be held at Abu Hurairah, inshallah ta'ala. The times? After Salat al-Asr, inshallah. After Salat al-Asr. So that's Saturday and Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is an explanation of a book called Awaiq al-Talab by a modern-day scholar, Sheikh Abdul Salam Ibn Abdul Kareem, Sheikh Barjas, rahimahullah. He passed away. He wrote a book telling the student of knowledge what to avoid, what to stay away from. Most people, they write books and they tell you what to do, how to become a scholar, how to become a Quran reciter, how to become a scholar of hadith, how to become a faqih, how to become a great da'iyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, he wrote a book from the opposite side, what to avoid. Things that if you avoid and if you do the right thing, inshallah, you'll be successful. And if you don't avoid these things, it's impossible for you to be successful. So it's a very important book, a book that I came across the first time when I went to Medina in 2002, and was very inspirational and influential upon my life. And I've taught the book, different students, different classes from the book, and I feel that it's necessary in the West, in Canada, and in this masjid as well. Because we have so many different lectures, so many different conferences. How many times the little bit of knowledge I have, how many times I've been here now? 3, 4 times. Everybody understand this? So knowledge is available, it's abundant. Medina University is all over. But how many of us are actually benefiting from knowledge? How many people leave this place, go over there and come back and have actually benefited? Istifadu. They actually learned and they have a tangible piece of ilm and tarbiyah to offer to people. How many of us? And one of the reasons why is not because the people don't love Allah, they don't have good hearts. They may be even diligent, they may work hard, but they don't necessarily have the proper fiqh of the do's and don'ts of seeking knowledge. They weren't given the specific and general instructions. So there's many things that we do on a daily basis to knowledge which is considered to be like metal spoon and honey. They don't mix. They don't mix. So that's what the course is going to be on Bid'an Ta'ala. Hopefully there'll be something for everybody. For the general layman Muslim who just wants to hear the dhikr, who wants to be in the masjid, who just likes the speech, alhamdulillah, he's welcome. For the people that are in the middle, I don't speak Arabic 100%, but I don't, just English. I know a little bit. I'm a little more extra studious. There'll be many things for you. And also there'll be a few gems and a few goodies and treats, inshallah, for the mutafawwaqeen, the advanced brothers and sisters who do speak all Arabic, who do study Arabic, or even in English, but they're advanced and they really want a good, solid piece. So it's going to be something for everyone. And this is very important before we stop. When we do lectures, or even exams or khutbahs, you should always try to keep this in mind. 3 types of people. I had a professor in Islamic University of Medina, Sheikh Abdullah Musa'id. Hafidhullah. He taught me fiqh al-hadith. I think he taught me maybe 2 times. 2 times, muharrar. Before the exam time, and the teacher, he was a very rare teacher, he was different. He would speak to the students before they took their exams. Abu Yahya, you can tell the people that are not making this up, exam time is crazy. They have a week off before the exams, which they call al-usbu' al-mayyit. Unfortunately, they call it the dead week, which shouldn't be said, because that could be a means of cursing time. What's important is there's no classes for a week. The real students of knowledge, you won't see them during that week. They may go to the masjid, to their dorm, the masjid in their apartment. That's it. If you're married, if you have children, you're literally in quarantine. You lock your library door. You tell your wife and your kids, you say, Ma salama, I'll see you after a week. They're in their libraries studying, memorizing, reading, recording, and preparing for the exams. And of course, you have some lazy students that don't study. They play soccer, they play basketball, they eat at Burger King, eat at McDonald's, eat at Pizza Hut, eat there, until the last day of the exam, and then they crash and they rush. And then you have some students that don't study at all. Allahumma musta'an. What's important is that this week is a major week of anxiety. It's a week in which you're memorizing and studying and reviewing everything that you took for 3 or 4 or 5 months for one exam. Everybody understand this? And obviously, unfortunately, there's the attack of the shaitan on the heart of the son of Adam. I got to get straight A's. I have to get mumtaz. I got to get daraja ula. I got to be the best. I can't fail. And oftentimes, people, they lose out on sincerity. Shaitan creeps up on them. And they start studying and memorizing for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't use the degree as an incentive anymore. The grade as an incentive, as a mark of evaluation. No, the degree itself is the maqsood. That is the maqsood. It's no longer the wasila, it's now the ghaya. So this teacher, he's been teaching a lot of students. He warned us from this. He says, beware of this shaitan creeping up on you and attacking your intentions. Beware of studying for just the degree. You're studying just for a grade. He said, beware this. And he says, and don't forget your aqeedah. You won't get anything except that Allah decreed it for you. You can study all night, and you may not pass the test. You may not study until the last day, and you may what? Ace the test. He says, it's qadr. Do what you can. Try your best, yes. But don't overburden yourselves. Don't kill yourselves. The real knowledge is not necessarily just in a test or an exam. And he would also say that my exam is going to be divided into 3 sections. Obviously, muharrar or fiqh hadith was one of the hardest subjects in Kulliyat hadith because it's everything. There's fiqh, it's usul, kullu shay is in hadith. He says there's going to be 3 types of questions. The first question is questions for everyone. That no one can miss out on this question unless you didn't study. You just, shaqi, malish. You just decreed to be wretched. You're going to lose because you didn't study at all. But anyone who studied just a little bit, he will pass the exam. And that's the majority of the test. He says the second level of questions are for the middle. The students of knowledge that aren't the best, they aren't the most hardworking, they aren't the most talented, but they're above the worst. Everybody understand this? The good, the bad, and the ugly, as they say. He says, and these questions will be fewer than the first type of questions. He says, and I know that there's some from among you that will get angry at me for giving such an easy candy test. And this is the truth in Hadith. I've seen students, they basically refute the teacher. And they'll get mad. They say, Sheikh, what is this exam that you gave us? I studied for a month. I didn't just study Usbu al-Mayyit. And you give this easy exam with me and this guy who didn't study, who's playing football and eating pizza all night, and we both got the same grade? That's unfair. That's what? That's unfair. He studied hard. He bust his hump. And you made the test so easy in which everyone gets the same grade. He says that that's unfair. So he says, so I'll give a few questions for the mutafawwiqeen. For the questions that will be challenging and difficult. And only for those who are really, really, really diligent. So basically he was saying everyone is going to get a 65 if you studied. Everyone will get a 65 at least. Some of you will get an 80. And some of you may get a 95 and 100. So that's how I try to do my durus in general, let alone a workshop. We don't want it to be too difficult for everybody. We don't want it to be too easy for everybody. Because some people, they travel and they want some real, laham yani. And not the judge, huh? Wallahu alam.
Jazakallah khair, barakallahu feekum. Inshallah, these courses that we're doing, inshallah, as part of the Foreign Institute of Islamic Studies, inshallah, we locked up the sheikh to at least to be visiting us 3 to 4 times a year. We signed that deal.
Allahu Akbar.
Inshallah, we're doing different courses, and also there is a whole manhaj that we put together that's 5 levels. The sheikh looked at it and prepared it, and the sheikh looked at it, and all the different teachers also will be teaching from basically from aqidah to ulum hadith to tafsir to fiqh to usul fiqh and also qawaid fiqhiyya. And each one in different books and different levels. From each of these major titles have 5 different levels that we hope that throughout the next 5 to 6 years to 7 years that different books being taught by different shuyukh along with Sheikh Muhammad and also other sheikhs who will come down the road inshallah to be taught inshallah for those brothers and sisters who truly wants to become students of knowledge. Alhamdulillah, so far there's about 11 students that from the youth of that was from Abu Hurairah that in Medina now, and more are going inshallah. So we want that, again, what we believe is that out of all the youth here, we will have those who inshallah will go to Medina. We will have those who will be alhamdulillah good students, good level, and stay in the masjid and here and just mashallah all around and doing the weekend school or other stuff and what have you. And then you're going to have those who just come for the halaqas every now and then you're going to have those who just come for the Jum'ah and they know Islam. And then you have those who don't really come to the masjid anymore and out there in the streets, but they still know that they're Muslim. Because wallahi, I see some youth that I know they're doing crazy stuff out there, crazy sins, publicly, online, but surprisingly every now and then I see them the Jum'ah. So we ask Allah will give them hidayah one day, and that's why these 17, 18 years now that we've been dealing with youth, that's the trend. And always, for those studious ones, it's the smallest percentage. And the far end as well are the small percentage, and the majority is in the middle in different aspects. So that's why we have to have in the masjid for each level a different thing. And these courses and reading with the Sheikh and others is for those students who wants to be students of knowledge, who wants to be the future, inshallah, shuyukh that will be sitting here and teaching the others, inshallah, and just to be in balancing all around, bi'idhnillah. We thank you, I think. It's almost 9:20 now. Sheikh needs to rest as well. I hope to see you all tomorrow. And the first 15 people that will be here tomorrow on time, your lunch is on us. Your luncheon is on those 15 people will come on time. Where's lunch? We can have a special lunch with the Sheikh, private, exclusively in the boardroom. Only those 50 people with the Sheikh. So that's, I don't know what about the sisters. That's